Good afternoon, Upper Sixth. Here we are. This is an article from today's Times. It's in the Scottish edition. You have to scroll to the bottom for Scotland. So it's talking about the impact of high-profile concerts at Murrayfield in Edinburgh on local hotel prices. Basic supply and demand question, but it's very interesting how very short term, with an extra 200,000 people coming into town to watch Taylor Swift. Obviously, we see the impact on the hotel room prices, especially if you want a hotel in Edinburgh and close to the airport was quite important, I think, to this one. So we'll do a supply and demand diagram, quick question. We'll also do PED for a hotel room at the Holiday Inn. Yes, business is rock and roll. So here is the case study, which you should, at this point, pause the video before we go on to the question. Pause the video now. Did you pause the video? No. Using the data in Extract A, draw a supply and demand diagram for hotel rooms to show the likely effects on price of Taylor Swift's Murrayfield concert in June 2024 compared to prices on a typical night. Okay, so we have got our basic draw supply and demand diagram. So I don't care what the question is. I draw my L. I put at the top a P. I then do a Q. I get 1 mark for that. Same 2 steps for every single one. This one is pointing downwards. That begins with a D, so does demand. And the other one must be an S. So far, we are up to 2 marks. Excuse me using the mouse pad again. And then we're going to put P1 in here, just to be nice and hopefully neater than this if I was using a pen, and Q1. Now, this represents the total amount of concert goers at any given time who want a hotel room, or just general people wanting a hotel at the time. So total amount of people demanding a hotel at any given time and their sensitivity to price. And we will call this the compared to a typical night. Okay, so we're going to call this compared to a typical night. Now in the case study, we don't see anything about building a new hotel, suddenly having, I don't know, glamping near the airport or something. We don't see any of that. We only see increases in demand. So this is quite an easy one. Now, if there's less people demanding hotel rooms, less is left. Well, more is the other way. So we're going to put D1 in there. We're going to do D2 to there. And yes, it's not pretty. And that indicates that we have interpreted the case study. And look at this, hey, what a wonderful, buy yourself a pen for your computer. Draw our dotted lines in, and we're going to call that P2. The question is effect on price. Price has increased. In the case study, price has increased. We sense check our work. We didn't move the demand curve until we realized that there wasn't any information in the case study about increases in supply. It had to be demand. I would have probably held up my pen before drawing the demand curve. If I was unsure, I might rest my pen over there. If I would have moved the demand curve there, prices go down. It's clearly obvious that that would be wrong, which is why we shifted it to the right. Hopefully that would be 4 marks, and that would be a very easy 4 marks. We would just definitely make sure that that looks like a P and not a D, because we don't want to lose a mark for mislabeling our diagrams, do we? Moving on. So using data in Extract A, the only extract, calculate PED. We're obviously going to need to demonstrate an understanding of that by writing the formula in words for a hotel room at the Holiday Inn at the zoo. Okay, so I'm looking for, you've all read the case study, I'm sure not. Holiday Inn at the zoo exceeded, we'll call it 600 quid for cash. Okay, due to a 30% increase in demand for rooms. Well, This is important, isn't it? Now, whenever we do a calculate question in paper 1, paper 2, they always give you one piece of information. They make you work for the second piece of information, so you do a basic calculation, and then you calculate what it's after. Well, we need to calculate the PED. So I know, because of my formula, I need to look for quantity demanded. Yeah, so I'll put a D in there because that's how we teach it. We don't put Q, we put D, but Q or D you'd get away with. And we've got P down the bottom. Okay, so what we've got there is increase in demand for rooms, quantity demanded. And we've got a price up there exceeding 600, but we need the percentage change. I wonder how much this room was before. Well, look here. Next paragraph down. 210. We've got all the information we need. So we've got our normal price, our peak price, and they've given us the 30% increase in demand. We then draw a blank PED diagram because we know we're looking for PED. PED, and we stick 30% change in demand on top of it. We're still looking for the change in price. We're going to have to work for that one a little bit. This was the gift. Now we need to work for the price. We're going to take the new price away from the original and obviously divide it by the original times by 100, and we get that percentage. We then shove that into the diagram. We take that, divide it by that, and we get that. Okay, now normally you present everything to 2 decimal places unless the question stipulates something different, round it to the near one. If you see that, then make sure you do round or put it to 1 or 2 decimal places because they're checking your maths. If you don't do it, you'll lose a mark. Now in this case, it doesn't stipulate it. If I put in 0.1615, I'm going to get the marks. If it said to 2 decimal places, I would need to obviously only do 0.16. Okay, or I'd lose a mark because I can't round. Now, sometimes we want to quickly check it because we're a bit unsure. I don't think any of you are going to want to check this because it's so easy, but you can double check your answers by just reworking it a little bit. So for example, if I wanted to double check, I know what the change in price was, for example, because I calculated it earlier, I could do that divided by that, and that would equal that. Well, if you do the calculations, you'll see that it does, as long as you times it by 100 to get the percentage, by the way. Okay, hopefully that was useful. Whirlwind tour, and shows the benefits of showing your formula in words first, then drawing a blank one, write in the giveaway, then calculate the stuff that you need, and then calculate the answer. So easy. You've got 5 minutes to do it in the exam. It all starts with writing the formula in words. And if you can't find time in the exam to write that, shame on you.